I know who's behind my targeting now. I don't know who was responsible back when it was my mother. So I must still have to find those people responsible. But the people who are behind my fucking targeting right now is both Jimmy Swaggart and his fucking brother. Both of them. Think about it. The evidence that I've shown you all, that equipment that they have put down is on this property which they own. It's coming from the Bible college that they own, and it's coming from the mall of which they own. It's fucking them. It is literally them doing this shit. There's no way that this shit is happening on all of these properties that just so happen to be owned by them. There's no way they wouldn't know about this. There's no way. I play this for you all now because they have a very, very questionable history, and I'll just let you judge this for yourself. Notice how they're shadow banning his channel? This guy named Rick Thorne. Dude, I wonder what he would think if he saw my fucking videos. I gotta get in contact with that guy. This video was made 2 years ago, man. 38,135 views, dude. Not a single like or dislike, and as you see, I marked mine. It's not showing. At least there's 198 comments, but I think that would be like way more.
This shocking video is going to be a journey into the life of the SWAGGART ministry. As you travel this lonely path, you will see that the SWAGGARTs have been anything but honest with you.
SWAGGART's rebound is a surprise to many Americans who remember his tear-stained confession nearly a decade ago.
I have sinned against you, my Lord, and I would ask that your precious blood would wash and cleanse every stain.
Until an encounter with a prostitute left Jimmy Swaggart in disgrace.
This ministry's going forward.
10 years later, the televangelist's high-style living after falling in disgrace.
SWAGGART is launching a comeback from disgrace.
Well, glory to God. Hallelujah. Glory to God.
Join us now as we go into our Sunday morning service.
He is building a new network of television and cable outlets.
It will bless you. 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 It will bless you.
preaching his fiery message of sin and redemption.
When you trust Jesus Christ, there is no more sin in your life. It's all gone. This is about a $75 or $80 value normally.
Selling religious products to the faithful.
Listen, when you get these things, you're helping us to continue.
Dude, I can't fucking believe this. I can't fuck. In every, you notice the videos that I showed? Every location. Where was that near? A freaking church. 2 to 3 locations right next to a church. And where is my home located at? Right next to a church. The equipment's coming from Jimmy Swaggart's Bible College. It's coming from the Blue Bonnet Towers, which Jimmy Swaggart owns. It's coming from the Mall, Louisiana, which Jimmy Swaggart owns. All of this shit is on their property. All of this illegal equipment is on their property, everybody. All of it. There's even equipment inside the fucking mall. Damn.
To come to you by television each and every week.
Swaggart is finding new sources of income to support his real estate rich but cash poor ministry.
Where the healing lies.
But in some respects, the new Jimmy Swaggart is a lot like the old. Living in the lap of luxury behind the walls of his $4 million estate near his ministry headquarters.
Did that? Hold on.
Quarters in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He owns a sizable investment portfolio, drives a brand new Mercedes, and from outward appearances, much of his tax-exempt spiritual empire remains intact. Swaggart seems to have survived disgrace in high style.
I do not think that the reason that we give these organizations tax exemptions and tax breaks is so that their leadership and the people who work with them and for them can live high on the hog.
After the tears, Jimmy Swaggart faced a daunting task, salvaging his tax-exempt empire, then valued at more than $200 million. Our impact investigation reveals how he did it, by legally exploiting tax loopholes, becoming something of a real estate.
Oh, that reminds me. I caught evidence where else they were sending information to. Dude, this shit is going like somewhere near Bangkok. They were sending my information to somewhere in Bangkok, way out there. I couldn't even, like, I thought it was like Chinese language I was seeing, but no. No. This was somewhere out there near Bangkok, like above it on the map. If you look on the map, it's somewhere above it. I got the evidence showing it though. So I don't know what that was about. But if you're wondering, in that area, that's known to be like a lot of scams, dude. There's a lot of fishy business going on in that area. No joke. Especially Bangkok. So if people did, even if I didn't post it, I just want people to know that I do have the evidence of it.
Mogul, and engaging in some questionable financial transactions. And despite continuing allegations of sexual misconduct, Jimmy Swaggart has even launched a modest TV comeback. That flattering characterization was in 1988. But today...
John, I'm going to take back what I said. You're not as good a reporter as I thought you.
This encounter with Swaggart and his wife, Frances, took place outside a Baton Rouge restaurant after repeated requests for an interview were denied.
You could take a Sermon on the Mount and make it...
The people using these weapons are seriously pissed off right now. I'm telling you, they are seriously pissed off. No joke. I believe I found, and I believe I'm right, because the evidence keeps pointing every time I look. Jimmy Swaggart, Jimmy Swaggart, Jimmy Swaggart. It's on his property. It's all over his property. It's on both sides' properties. And all the way down Blue Bonnet to Lamar, Louisiana. Are you fucking kidding me? That's too obvious. That is too obvious.
Look like a plot to overthrow the government. Am I right, John?
I don't think that's quite the case, Jimmy. I think
I know it's the case, John, and you know it too.
I try to be fair, and I wish that...
John, you define fair as you define it, but I don't think it is.
And it's like you defined honesty as you defined it, and all I'm asking is honest answers. Honest answers, for example, about the way Swaggart's ministry spends millions of tax-exempt dollars it still collects from the public.
Do you realize I haven't taken a salary in 8 years? No salary.
But you have taken benefits that...
No, well, just a little bit. John, I would have to go to the books, but I think that my income has been between $20,000 and $40,000 a year.
Public documents filed with the Internal Revenue Service tell a different story, showing Swaggart with a six-figure income every year since 1992. His 1995 salary was listed at almost $159,000.
So you all sit around like a bunch of little hounds, like checking something like that?
His wife, Frances, also a ministry official, had a 1995 salary of more than $200,000.
Damn.
I see homosexuals right now coming to their senses.
And his son, Donnie, the ministry's executive...
That's interesting, Mr. Swaggart, because apparently some of these perps actually seems to be acting like homosexuals and shit. Some of them tend to be like that, where they bend their ass over and shit. And also, did you know, and I want everybody to know this, in my older apartment, before I even came anywhere near here, in this unit, they were sending homosexuals up and down the fucking street, gaslighting me. No joke. This was before I pulled out the recording equipment. They were sending, no joke, they were sending homosexuals up and down the fucking street. So, this is a clarification on that apparently they must have something to do with my old job. Because that's where this whole shit went over at.
Vice President collected almost $226,000. A salary that Swaggart suggests leaves his family struggling.
My son and his wife, he preaches constantly elsewhere, and we have very little.
Very little is a matter of perspective. Jimmy Swaggart and his son Donnie have their side-by-side homes inside this 25-acre compound. Homes built with loans from the ministry. The loans, while legal, raise some questions.
That kind of thing should not take place at all.
Economist James Bennett is an expert on non-profit corporations.
If the Swaggarts wanted to borrow money for their own homes or something of that sort, they should go to a bank which has no connection with the ministry, the church, or that kind of thing, and borrow the money there in the market like every other American does.
The Swaggart homes were recently advertised for sale. The asking price, $4,250,000.
I would be thrilled if we could sell it for $4.2 million. Oh, yes, I would. I would be thankful if I could.
And no wonder. Tax documents show the Swaggarts owe less than $2 million on the ministry loans. Besides real estate, our impact investigation uncovered a sizable Swaggart investment portfolio. In December 1996, it was valued at more than $680,000.
I wish I had $681,000. I don't have $681,000. I ought to have. I'm 62 years old. I have sold 15 million gospel albums.
Family secretly took pictures of Swaggart with a prostitute outside a dingy motel in a New Orleans red light.
10
10 years after a well-publicized encounter with a prostitute, TV preacher Jimmy Swaggart has managed to survive in high style. Senior correspondent John Camp continues his investigation into the twisted financial trail, leading to Swaggart's comeback.
But it is a resurrection due in part to shrewd and sometimes questionable real estate transactions. Deals he is reluctant to talk about. Oh, we just want to ask you a couple of questions, Jimmy.
What kind of questions you want to ask?
Well, basically, number one, we want to know how the ministry's doing at this point, 10 years later.
Well, it could always do better, but we're very thankful for what it is.
And what it is a real estate conglomerate, built with tax-exempt contributions from followers.
There you go. What is that in the distance? I'll tell you what that is. Let me go back.
Oh, we just want to ask you a couple of questions, Jimmy.
What kind of questions you want to ask?
Well, basically, number one, we want to know how the ministry's doing at this point, 10 years later.
Hold on. The quality's kind of bad. I need that quality to go up. Yes, 720p. Go up to 7.
It could always do better, but we're very thankful for what it is.
And what it is.
Everybody, that building on the other side of the street, that one that's like in a, it's got it's like, you should be able to see what I'm talking about. It's like in front of I'm stuttering. The building that's right in front of that circular building, you see the one that's going straight up, that one is the damn Bible college. No bullshit. That's the fucking Bible college. Next to that is my fucking apartment complex, where all that fucking equipment is. The exact same shit. No joke.
Is a real estate conglomerate, built with tax-exempt contributions from followers. Documents inspected by Impact reveal that between 1992 and early 1996, approximately half of the ministry's estimated total income was raised from selling and renting real estate and other property. We showed those documents to Dr.
Selling real estate and other property. Remember all the houses that kept popping up each time, like they were they were shifting my data around? How the houses and all the places turned out to be somewhat different each and every time, but there was actually one particular house that was like, that looked like, someone would have had to have a lot of money to basically have. Wouldn't have been the first one either, because there was 2, possibly 3 of them that looked the same. It's big motherfucking houses. And I'm like, it's someone. I'm getting close. And now I know who is responsible. I asked the Most High to give me the answer, and I was given it. Now I know who's responsible. And I do mean by name. I definitely mean by name. No joke.
James Bennett, an expert on charities and non-profit corporations. His reaction?
They should be doing more of the Lord's work and less real estate work.
Much of the real estate revenue.
Any sound they make in the hallway is heard by this thing, just in case. So if you're hearing all of that right now, yeah, they're not too happy about that, because now I know who's paying them. I know whose payroll they're on. I know who's funding this shit. And I know who set this up. I believe I will be contacting this person very soon. But before that, I'm going to go actually find the people who were basically against this guy, because they're bound to still be around. And I'm wondering what they're going to think when they see this shit going down. I'm curious. I really am curious. And by the way, it shouldn't be no surprise he pissed off a lot of people.
Which is taxable, goes to support the ministry. But a sizable sum goes to support the Swaggarts. As we reported earlier, Jimmy Swaggart, his son Donnie, and their wives receive $600,000 a year in salaries plus perks, thanks in part to real estate deals that have taken some odd twists. Take, for example, the ministry's relationship with this man, wheeler-dealer Sam Rosilli.
Well, Mr. Rosilli is quite a salesman. He's been very convincing in extracting money from people. And
now, I want people to understand this mind manipulation thing that happened. There's someone who was involved with my mother's targeting, but they've been known to like sell different targets off to different control factors. Whenever, let's say, you move into like a whole other state, it shifts over. That's been known to happen. So in my previous areas where I used to live at, whoever was doing it then, I don't know if I even be able to figure out who was responsible for that. That happened so long ago. The only thing I have to go off of is trying to see who was targeting my mother. That's about it. That's the only way I'm going to be able to catch up with the assholes who were responsible for starting this. But currently, the culprits who are responsible for the gaslighting that's happening, for the stalking, for the illegal access to my network, to this this technology being used for illegal purposes, all of these setups, responsible for me losing my job, responsible for all of the stuff that's happening is Jimmy Swaggart. It's too obvious. All the evidence just keeps pointing to this person's properties. And hearing how this person has a questionable past, very questionable by all of this embezzlements, all of this, everything having to deal with money. And I'm like, wait a minute, someone would have had to have whoever funds this stuff has to have a lot of money. They had to have a lot of money to fund something like this. You know, it's gotta be a lot. Gotta be a lot. And wouldn't it? Why am I not surprised he's throwing up satanic signals, huh? Why am I not surprised, right? Why am I not surprised? So, we've all tracked this stuff down to Satanism before. So it was no surprise that it so happens that this shit is involved. All right, I shall let this finish.
And I would say he's a very persuasive con man.
Rosilli paid over $2 million for an option to buy this ministry-owned land. The land was the centerpiece of a complicated scheme in which investors were bilked out of $16 million.
Mr. Rosilli showed no mercy in getting money from victims. He would get all they had.
Atlanta-based financial consultant William Hayes is known as the fraud buster. His investigation on behalf of a bankruptcy court helped send Rosilli to prison. Hayes claims the highly publicized investigation should have alerted the ministry that they were dealing with a con man.
If they read the newspaper, they would have known.
But the cash-strapped ministry continued taking money from Rosilli, who at one point was making daily payments of $10,000 to hold on to the land option and keep his scheme alive. Much of the money was delivered to SWAGGART headquarters by a middleman.
Everybody, that's Mall, Louisiana. The same place that has illegal equipment that's attached to my network. The same damn place. This is like in dead center of it, too.
And then cash.
He would have cash in his suit pockets, and they explained that he would come and lay the cash out on the table. Another type.
YouTube, you should know I have all this evidence backed up. And you best believe this video will also be backed up as well. So just letting you know, because you might not want to basically, involve yourself. Because if you do, well, that won't work out for you now, will it? In court? I don't think so.
Would be wire transfers directly from investors payable to Jimmy Swaggart Ministries. Directly.
Weren't you the least bit suspicious when they started bringing in $10,000 in cash to renew that option?
No. I don't know how they brought it in. You'll have to see Mr. Fuller. He's the chairman of the board. He dealt with him totally and completely.
Mr. Fuller is Clyde Fuller, a Chattanooga, Tennessee trucking company owner and longtime SWAGGART benefactor. The SWAGGART say he has the answers to all the questions they couldn't or wouldn't answer.
I can't guarantee that he'll tell you anything.
Well, it would certainly answer a lot of questions and not leave.
We've answered every single question you've had right here today.
But a majority of the answers, or many of the answers, have been talked to Clyde Fuller, so that's what I plan to do.
Fuller refused to answer any questions, including questions about the 19...
That's another suspect I need to basically mark down on the charts. I can't... Man, dude, this is big. This is unbelievably large and seared. I can't fucking believe it. I'm being targeted and tortured with directed energy weapons, right? On the daily. Cost me my job. Messed up the relationship I have with my family. And these people were all in the center of it, pulling the strings. Do I need proof? I have evidence. I mean, I got evidence. And if you need to see, if anybody needs to see the proof of this, just check back at my videos of all the GPS locations that were marked down when it came to the evidence that I was showing. I just can't fucking believe this, man. I can't. Now I know now I know precisely who's at fault for this shit. Now I know.
1996 purchase of a fleet of Mercedes for the Swaggart family. At the same time, Swaggart was desperately appealing for money for ministry projects.
We need this help. We really do.
The 5 cars cost nearly $250,000. They were bought within days of the $10 million sale of this ministry property, soon to be the home of a brand new shopping mall. The Swaggarts claim there is no link between the cars and the sale of the property, implying they were a gift.
As I understand it, you got one, Donnie got one, you have the white one.
Mr. Fuller has got our
Your
cars.
grandson has
Wait, just a minute. Wait, Mr. Fuller has taken care of our cars for the last 10, 12, 15 years?
15 years.
The ministry has not purchased cars.
But motor vehicle records dispute this, listing the purchasers of the car as the ministry and Jimmy Swaggart's Family Worship Center Church. Outside, the vast parking lot is nearly empty. A decade ago, trams were needed to transport the crowds attending Swaggart services. Back then, his 5,000-seat sanctuary was filled to capacity every Sunday. The faithful were serenaded by an orchestra and a 300-member choir. In his prime, Swaggart founded a Bible college with an enrollment of nearly 3,000.
How many students do you now have at the
We
college?
have very few. There are 40 or 50, something like that.
Today, part of the college campus has been converted to offices, leased to Louisiana's Department of Environmental Quality. Other ministry buildings are also being rented by the state and various businesses. In 1995, the ministry's total rental income exceeded $2 million.
Because if my mom and daddy had been affluent and rich, they may never have accepted Jesus Christ.
At the peak of Jimmy Swaggart's popularity, more than $500,000 was pouring into the ministry each day. Then came the fall after he was photographed with a prostitute.
I know that so many would ask, why? Why? I have asked myself that 10,000 times.
I could ask him the same thing,
Swaggart
dude.
stepped down from the pulpit, supposedly for one
I could ask him the exact same question. Why was my family targeted, huh? Why? Why was anybody targeted? But of course, we know where this is going down to. Money. And it's always been about that. About both that and the research, because there's a lot of industry and money in that, in these directed energy weapons, which they use. A lot. Quite a lot. I want everybody who sees this video to understand that the UN has declared that this stuff does exist. So understand, if you're debunking TIs right now, you may be posing, even if you're not paid opposition, you are making yourself out to be paid opposition. Just know that. And there's a big battle going on. I don't think you want to be on the wrong side of that when this goes down.
Year when the sex scandal hit, but instead returned 2 months later.
We believe that to stay out of the pulpit for a year would totally destroy the television ministry and greatly adversely impact the college.
But neither Swaggart's confession nor his fiery preaching could restore him to past glory.
This is America's problem. This is a problem of materialism. I can earn my salvation.
The lifeblood of his ministry was television,
To this old filthy world.
and his ratings were plummeting. TV bills were going unpaid. Construction projects were left behind unfinished. Lawsuits and tax liens plagued the ministry and Swaggart personally. Money to missionaries and children's ministries, once amounting to more than $11 million a year, were slashed.
From what I've seen of the tax returns that you've shown me of the Swaggart Ministries, they are not terribly interested in making contributions for charitable causes out of the church income.
The 1995 tax return, the most recent filed by the ministry, shows just $396 going to benevolent projects.
We don't owe anybody now anything. This ministry doesn't owe anybody anything.
Although Swaggart says the ministry is debt-free today, recurring allegations of sexual misconduct have led to further setbacks. For example, October 1991. This woman was in the car with Swaggart when he was stopped in Indio, California for driving on the wrong side of the road.
For sex. I mean, that's what he stopped me. That's what I do. I'm a prostitute. He asked for sex.
For the fallen preacher, another day of sadness.
If I hadn't been known I would have gone to hell, I'd have pulled that car in front of an 18-wheeler. I've never known such blackness, such darkness.
4 years later,
December 1995, narcotic agents were working this area known as the Strip. A car was seen riding up and down the Strip, in and out, and the subjects were stopped for a routine traffic stop.
this area, a few miles from the Swaggart ministry, is frequented by prostitutes.
He was asked for his identification, which at that time they ran as Louisiana driver's license.
What was their reaction when they found it was a world-famous evangelist?
They were shocked.
A lot of people know me. My Lord, don't you think over there as wide open as that thing is? If something, I've never talked to a person there in my life. I've never seen anybody there in my life. Never been in any place of business or establishment or anywhere there in my life.
At first he said he was lost, and then later it was stated that he was looking for a radio tower.
Swaggart insists he was in
A radio tower? Did he just say a radio tower? He just fucking said a radio tower. Huh. Okay. Okay. A radio tower, huh? Interesting.
seedy area to inspect a nearby radio tower. A radio tower that tax records show was sold by the ministry almost a year before. Swaggart says he thought the ministry still owned it.
About every 5 years, I'll go over and check our tower. Always have. And I don't do anything because I'm not.
Oh, dude, this is getting worse. So you mean to tell me they own towers? You mean to tell, and he admits it. He fucking admits it. Dude. Oh, shit. Oh, most high, please pardon my language, but wow. I'm just wow, man. Just wow. Unbelievable. Vulcan sees this, he's gonna flip. He's gonna flip. Everybody's gonna flip like, what the fuck? Oh, dude, I can only imagine how pissed off they are right now. Man. I want everybody to know I kept warning them. I gave them the option to back the F off. I did. I really freaking did. So many times I just kept saying, just leave people the F alone. Stop this. Seriously, stop it. They didn't listen. I kept warning. I honestly was trying to tell them to stop. I did. I constantly did. Man. Don't let me find out that they own my old job, because if they do, oh man, dude, all the time stamps that I got on there of all the actions and stuff that happened in there. Now then, for certain purposes, I need to download this video unedited, by the way, because this piece will be on my channel.
An engineer, but just to see that the grass is cut or whatever the case.
That's crazy.
Despite questions about his personal life, his extravagances, and his ministry's business dealings, Jimmy Swaggart keeps on keeping on. Although a sizable part of his ministry has been liquidated in the last 10 years, what remains is still worth about $100 million, providing Swaggart and his family with a lifestyle that most Americans can only dream of.
I've never known him to use double signs. Let me just go ahead and use this for this silliness right now. God cannot ignore something that's
Okay, here's the thing. There's a chance these are the people targeting Kyle. Think about it. There are people, yeah, I mean, sure, like DARPA and like, the fusion centers and all that, right? But there are people who like just hires these guys, who funds them to do it. There are people who are living amongst you and me in these neighborhoods who hire them to do this shit. So there's a good chance that there's a really good chance that they may be also the ones targeting Kyle. Now, here's the deal. And I don't think Kyle knows about this, right? And if you want to know who Kyle is, I'm talking about Vulcan Wolverine. Bro, they kept freaking out every time I tried to contact you. Every time. Let me tell you how much they freaked out. And I did mention this before, but I'm going to mention it again. They freaked out so much because I was about to contact you that they forced my aunt to basically start up a false, I say false because I wasn't missing. I was at my job at the time. I was working. They didn't come and find me. They didn't call me. Well, they did call me, but it wasn't that current day. And I think I may have had my phone either on silent or something, but like I didn't have any calls from her, I didn't. But miraculously, they should have known that I was working that day because I did clock in, right? I did. I fucking did. I even talked to a couple supervisors the exact same day. On my way out from there, they pull up out of nowhere. She's telling me, we had to go talk to Adam about, I'm not saying the last name, but if you want to know who that is, that's basically the property manager. So people will know. And yes, that guy is involved as well. And I'm not afraid to say it. I'm not. Now then. It gets to a point, right? To where Maud's coming up to me and she's telling me, oh shit. It gets to a point, right? To where she's going like we had to go, like we ended up, I'm stuttering again. They claimed that they didn't know where I was at, so they filed a missing persons report. And this happened because the day before that, I didn't answer her call. I didn't even answer. It was just a single call. Mind you, this happened the same day a PSYOP tactic happened. The dude that's on the left side of my apartment building, not building, but room, the apartment that I live in, he walks out the same day. Talking about something, he over here, right? He walks out of his unit saying that shit. And before then, he kept like pounding on the wall as another PSYOP tactic, right? Because I wasn't in this part of the unit, I was on the other side. They didn't have their shit listed on the other side, so they needed to get in here to put it in, to put that illegal low emission equipment in, of which the same thing of which I have evidence of. Now then, the next thing I need to do is, and this is another reason why I got my recordable glasses. I need to move this thing around the unit as I'm going, and it's going to detect the stuff as I move around. So, what she tells me is that the cops basically was in my apartment, right? They were in here. And as soon as I come in here, I'm checking the mirror on the other side, and why am I not surprised? It boosts off an electrical magnetic signal, meaning they put illegal low I don't remember that word, low emission equipment in my apartment again, and this is illegal, very illegal. So now that I actually finally have the SP space H, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I can't thank you enough. I can't. And you best believe I'm going to do whatever I can to help both you. I believe all TIs are. I'm going to do the best I can to both help you and your mother out. However I can, if I actually get through this. If I do. I need to help Kyle out as well, because he's also dealing with a lot of stuff. But I wouldn't be surprised. And that's why I think it's fucking Jimmy Swagger that's targeting him too. I think he's the funder for this shit. I really fucking do. I honestly do, because why? I mean, I get that they get like that, but think about it. There's like someone funding this stuff, and there's like certain teams that do this shit. So it just seems like how desperate they were, you know? It just seems just how desperate they were when it came to two TIs basically trying to, come in communication. So Vulcan, here's the thing, if you find that equipment when you get the apps, pay attention to the buildings of which that equipment is latched to, because it may be attached to one. If it's attached to a single one of their buildings, even one of them, it's them. Undeniable proof. It will be them. Definitely. Now then, I could very well go over to where my family lives and actually pick up the low emission equipment that's been placed around their houses and detect where that stuff is at too. But this is why I recommended the guide channel, so they would be able to find out who's doing it, you know? But everybody, I'm gonna just let this play all the way through. But man, I can't believe this one.
It's just he uses that pointer finger and he figures it's over it. He doesn't emphasis. Double emphasis. Double emphasis. I'm asking for a double point. Double emphasis. Double emphasis. Not a devil sign. What is it about? Double portion. Next time, whenever you start doing something, you start doing it.
singers were given satanic signs.
Seriously?
And then I saw some other pictures that alarmed me. So what is your response to this? First of all, let me say this. Robin, none of the singers up there are giving satanic signals. They're simply turning around to the other musicians, and sometimes they're giving the chord. They'll do something like this to go to C, because we do have our singers do rehearse their specials. But if you know my husband, he'll sing many songs that they're not, and so they'll give each other.
I want people to understand when it comes to my gang stalking that she's in blue. Don't the Masons use blue as a term of war? Now understand, she's in the middle of the fence and she's in blue. She's on the fence and she is in blue.
The signals, what key to go to, or what verse they're going to, and that's what they're doing.
Mrs. Swaggart is extremely confused while she is trying to pretend to know that she knows what she's talking about. Her husband uses the Nashville numbering system. That system gives a way for musicians to play with the right chord, not in the same key. Those numbers given to each other by music professionals for the purpose of playing the same chord are signaled in the following way: 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Mr. Swaggart explained these simple signs during one of his shows just a few months earlier.
It represents a chord. It represents the 1 chord. That represents the 2 chord, the 5 chord.
Mr. Swaggart happens to be the only musician in his band that is allowed to determine the chords on the spot like that. Swaggart, therefore, is the only one who gives these signs to the band for chords. The other musicians on his stage can choose the next verse they want to go to when they are leading. And every other singer but Robin Hurd uses those same hand signals for numbers when they do. And by the way, as far as choosing the key goes, only Mr. Swaggart gets to do that as well. And he uses letters to describe the key he wants, and he always calls those letters out when he does. But going back to Jimmy's brief lesson that morning, his intentions before he ministered at the piano were not entirely innocent.
It represents a chord. It represents the 1 chord. That represents the 2 chord, the 5 chord. That's not signs of the devil.
Yes, you are correct, Mr. Swaggart. Those aren't satanic hand signs. But these signs used by your primary worship leader, Robin Hurd, definitely are signs of the devil.
Robin Hurd,
if you know it.
He's not good just once in a while. He's good all the time. God is great. But we are waiting and expecting. Lord, let it rain.
They are not part of the Nashville numbering system, and neither are they part of any musical system, Mr. Swaggart. And you know that too. So why did you leave them out in your explanation, Mr. Swaggart? And why do you condone them when they mean nothing in music, but mean a whole lot to Satan?
About that, Mother, they're talking about this. That's what they're talking about. And what it is, when they're up there singing, whoever's leading, you'll see them sometimes do this. Well, that means drums and bass only. That's what it means. All other instruments.
I said hand singles.
Yeah, but it's not that. It's this. This is what they're all talking about.
Well, I can't help it.
And let me just explain, okay? And also, sometimes they want to go to the second verse. They don't do this because sometimes where the hand is turned, they only see 1 finger. It's just like in baseball when there's 2 outs. They don't do this. They do this. Because somebody may not be able to see the second finger if the hand is turned sideways. So look at baseball. So are all baseball players, when they signal 2 outs and they do that, are they giving the satanic sign? No, it's 2.
Well, and a lot of times the singer will be doing a repeat of the song, and they'll show that they're going to the second verse. Right. So the musicians and other singers will know what to start out on. Quit making something out of nothing.
This is the sign of the horns. A curse sign. The 2 fingers extended.
I don't quit making something out of nothing. Of nothing. Of nothing.
This is the sign of the horn. A curse sign. The 2 fingers extended. Would you like me to show them how the sign of the curse works? Sign of the curse? Completely different. This is the sign of the horn. A curse sign. The 2 fingers extended. This way, spread apart for sort of shotgun blast.
Truth or lie?
Last night during the Share-a-thon, we had quite a night here in more ways than one, and good and bad. But Mother got sick during her shift and had to leave, and she'll be back maybe tomorrow. And I would ask each and every one of you to lift her up in prayer, that God would touch her body, and that she would come back stronger as ever before. But she just got sick last night, and I personally believe it's from overwork and overstress. May be wrong.
In the days following this event, Frances took time away from her live TV show and also stayed out of church. No one said anything further about the illness until her husband, 16 days later, reported that she had both of her knees totally replaced. We believe that report to be a lie. From this point on, we will refer to Jimmy's report as a lie. He told this lie 4 times. The first time was during church on October 17th, 2012. Watch how busy his nervous hands are.
Frances this morning had surgery on both of her knees. They've been giving her problems, and I haven't been too much concerned about it because she can't catch me with those knees. It's yesterday morning, she had 2 new knees put in, and I had the same thing done about 5 or 6 years ago.
Watch Mr. Rosenstern, to Jimmy's right, nervously nudge forward while his boss brazenly lies.
And I had the same thing done about 5 or 6 years.
Notice Bible College President Lauren Larson, seated to Jimmy's left, doesn't look too happy about Jimmy's lie either.
And she got to the place that it was painful to walk. She decided to have it done, and she'd just do both of them at one time. It was supposed to take about 2.5 hours. Well, they got it done in an hour and a half.
Jimmy's third lie, Sunday morning worship service, Family Worship Center, October 21st, 2012.
Frances is doing well. She's barking orders. When you have both of your knees replaced, it's not a very pleasant situation. I know I didn't do them at one time. She did them both at one time. That's Frances.
And finally, Jimmy's fourth lie, Sunday morning worship service, Family Worship Center, October 28th, 2012.
But she's doing fine. Having a knee replacement, 2 knee replacements.
That is called mind control, and Jimmy Swaggart specializes in it. Just 24 hours before her...
Excuse me? What? It's just becoming too obvious. It's just becoming too fucking obvious the farther down along the video I go. Fuck. Oh, man.
Emergency. Frances was walking and standing just fine in her very high heel shoes. Watch as she stands up and walks in those high heels. No sign of anything but strength in those knees.
134 from Alabama, Diana. From Arizona, Lynn, Martha, Marcio Jr., Don and Janet, Hilda. Iowa, Sharon.
In fact, just 8 days before her on-air emergency, Frances stood for a whole 30 minutes straight. That is no small thing for a lady with desperately bad knees. The timestamps at the bottom right corners show the passage of time. Frances is in the center wearing the purple dress. Just minutes later, Francis walks quickly up and...
I don't think so. Nope. Nope, keep it on. They're hitting me with a weapon right now. Just so people know, Mall, Louisiana, don't he own that? Bluebonnet Towers. It's hard to make out, but that's definitely the property lines of it. Jimmy Swaggart Bible College. There's equipment on my other videos that shows that there is illegal equipment siphoning my network data from there. So as you see here, remember when he says he owns towers? Remember that? And there you go. And as you see, I'm not moving around. I am inside my apartment. And there you go. There's the structure of what the apartment complex looks like. And that's the same direction as to where the what was that? The property manager is at, where his office is. I hate to do this, but I got to get out of this bucket for a minute. Where's my... This is exactly why I bought these two. They're going to come in handy. Are we on? Let me check. Okay, good. I got to get out of this bucket here that I'm in. No, get out of that. Go to here. Now I need to get this data as I go around the apartment unit, as you see here. Now I found out who's responsible for this and who's actually, oh wow, paying these people who are doing this to me. So as I'm walking around my entire apartment unit, you see that this is changing. This is proof that there are low emission equipment inside this apartment. As I walk around it. So all throughout this one side of the apartment, there's all kinds of illegally, as you see right up inside the wall there, it goes up a lot more than it was before. Now let's check the next one. All right, I don't think it changed in there, but this thing can clearly see it. Now I'm in the bathroom. Let's see if it changes. Oh, yep. Right next to the toilet. See that? Now what about the shower? Alright. Now for the next room, as you see, it's still going up. So this is allowing me to detect all of this low emission equipment that they got hidden. Oh, that reminds me, they've got one under here somewhere. Thanks. Go above here. Sorry about the mess, but this is important. If you're wondering, this stuff that use tends to make you kind of lazy over time. And it's because of the significance of what this technology does. Normal circumstances, I would have this area cleaned up, but this is actually important. So, yeah. Checking over here. I still need to finish that video, but apparently I know who's responsible now. To think just a single name, would basically, in this technology, would give me all the information I need to state my case. And not to mention the fact that the guy has been caught in a lot of dirty shit before just screams a lot of it out too. So if you're wondering, that's, as you saw before, that's pretty much the guy responsible. Now then, let me check a few other things. Stat. Now, as you see that, go to the stats, go to the map. And as you see, this is all over Blue Bonnet Towers apartments, all over it. And I have evidence that there's even some over there. Now, I don't even know I think there is equipment over here, but I didn't check it enough to know. So, okay, the next thing I needed to do is, let me see if I can find it. Ramble. Now then, satellite, as you see here, I'm not bullshitting. All of this equipment, all on Jimmy Swaggart's property, which is where my apartment complex, which just so happens to be where my apartment complex is. Do you hear that? They send their goons going up and back, so they know they're not liking this. They're not liking this at all. So as you see, and yes, including that, including the Bible college, or I think this is the bookstore actually, but this is part of its campus actually, and I believe the actual college itself is like right here, mixed with this building too, I think. Now then, even the Renaissance, no joke, all the way as far as back there. Now, even the Renaissance had equipment that's latched onto my network. See that? So I hope people are seeing this. Jimmy Swaggart and his buddies just so happen to be the ones responsible for this. And to prove to you, and also another property that he owns. What a surprise. Samsung 8. And there you see the address. Right in there. Right in there. Even here, no less. Right there. Right there. And now, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm going to show you, I'm going to zoom in, go to the heat markers. What a surprise. You see all of that? Go back. No, turn it back on. All those heat markers. All around my apartment unit. All around it. Make sure this is still going. Awesome sauce. Now then, the next thing I wanted to show you, it's not going to be on there. But, hold on. Go back to Ramble. Go back. I don't need to do all of that just to bring it up. You can hear the noises that guy is making. He's practically in the hallway up against the door. So people who see this will be able to know that that's happening. And also, these is the thing that I'm wearing is also picking this up as well. Can't make this up. So if you want to know what that is, that's a gas lighter. They send them there to basically, distractive tactics to discredit a person. Now, I don't care that I'm doing this because I will change it. Go ahead and allow, whatever. Now let me show you this. See that? Now let's find out where this is coming from. Oh, what a quinkydink. What a quinkydink. And that's on, dun dun dun, Jimmy Swaggart's property, no less. Interesting, huh? Very interesting. Let's see what the TBS series is coming from, huh? Oh. Again. Now, I did show this before, but let me, I guess this is a good thing I showed it again. Now, let me show you this. You see that? All on his property. That's illegal. As the next one. Why am I not surprised? That says House of God, huh? I know, I thought there was something peculiar about that. I did. And now I know. You see, right next to the Bible College. Now they had a few, as you see, Jimmy Swaggart Bible College. Right next to it. That one, that's the legal access. If I tap on these a few times, you usually change up. You see how it says public? Then if I go even farther in, you'll see a few more hiding amongst the red. Now, I've had hacking attempts happening with my Wi-Fi before, and it happened mainly with my PS4 until I got rid of it. Now I know why that PS4 kept acting up. All on that property. All of this is illegal access, everybody. And also, here's the thing. I recently paid my Cox Wi-Fi bill off yesterday. It wasn't active until I had called them today. It wasn't active until today. So I have evidence even while it was still off. Okay? I have evidence even while it was off. As you see, there's another illegal access unit there. Another one here, and this is all going down here. And I had actually, there too. They're all over his property, all over this property, all over the place. And I went in and did a tracking around yesterday. And what a surprise, yet another one on where? His property yet again. And where is that? All the way to the right-hand side. Oh, that's right. Mall of Louisiana. Doesn't he own that? I think he does. Yes, he does. Don't you love when you piss off perps? The sound is just beautiful. Beautiful. Now then, oh, wait, I'm not done yet. As you see here, it's going all the way down to here. Now, as you see, the Neuro Medical Center Rehabilitation Hospital, the U.S. Army, Baton Rouge Battalion HQ. Now, I found some hacked equipment on that. I could show it, but, oh, that's right. I've been showed it because I uploaded it a few days, literally, I believe, what was it, yesterday or the day before? Maybe so, but it's there. Now then, remember how the research shows that this technology they use constantly tries to basically get itself into your neurons? Remember the video I recently posted about the Blue Beam project and how it's basic, and then, I'm basically what they didn't want you to see was the app that I had downloaded. Now, if you're wondering, I'm gonna upload the intro again. I'm gonna uninstall it and reinstall it, and I'm gonna have it attached to this video. Now, I won't even have it attached to this video because I did that last time, and that part got taken out. No joke. And I know it was there because other people watched that video, and I know for a fact they saw that, yes, that part was there. So what happened? Oh, they took that little part out. They didn't want you to see it. So again, the last video that was uploaded, definitely download a Comfort View app because that blue hue that's on your screen is actually responsible for making your targeting worse. A lot worse. Now then, let's continue the documentary, shall we? Now then, I can also turn this thing off. Awesome. Even the camera glasses caught that shit. Nice. Nice. Sorry, I'm just too excited right now. All right, let's finish where we left
down
off.
the front stage. Walking is bad enough for bad knees, but stair climbing fast? That would be excruciating if she really had bad knees.
Praise God.
Oh, and I forgot. She's doing all of that wearing her high heels, too. Let's take a look at that. These are the types of devices the surgeons put in as new knees. And of course, that is after taking out the old knees. Months later, Frances makes a grand entrance. No cane or walker, but just high heels.
There she go. Oh, there she goes. Hallelujah. Now, that was not planned.
You want to bet?
She wasn't making a grand entrance. She didn't know I was.
Take careful note of her scar-free knees. The following surgical scars are very typical after any total knee replacement. Most patients get long ones from the traditional method. Some get only 4-inch ones from the minimally invasive method. LSU Dr. Brent Bankston does only the traditional kind. He does not do minimally invasive knee replacement surgery. If we zoom in on her knees, you can see that she has no signs of typical incisions. If we brighten the exposure a bit, you can see it more clearly. Now you can see a couple of small band-aids and possibly makeup on them to throw us off, but definitely no knee replacement incisions. And keep in mind, Jimmy's story said 90 minutes total. That would be only 45 minutes per knee to clean out the old and put the new devices in. Here's the old face. And here's the new face. More bad knees, hallelujah. September 23rd, 2012. November 5th, 2012. Before her knee surgery. After her knee surgery.
Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107, the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use of purposes such as criticism, comment, news, reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. This video falls under the definition of fair use, as well as my, edited copy, no less. Because technically this counts as a reaction video, right? Because I am reacting to this. I am reacting, and that counts as fair use, YouTube. I'm talking to you.
Recently, a concerned SBN viewer sent me a captured clip of Donnie doing an impromptu walkthrough tour of the ministry shipping department. This was for his SBN show, Reflections. In the clip I'm about to show you, Donnie saunters through the shipping department and into the printing department. He feels that this will be an interesting blessing to his viewers and that they'll be able to, quote, see how it's done. What's particularly amusing to me personally, in a macabre sort of way, is his insistence that the print shop didn't know he was coming with his camera crew. He hoped he didn't catch them doing something that they weren't supposed to be doing. The sad thing is that he knows full well what they've been doing in that print shop, and he's poking fun at those that have tried to bring it to light in a passive-aggressive sort of way. After pointing out Caleb Berg, and we'll get back to him a bit later, he makes a concerted effort to point out a pile of covers they've just printed. Appropriately enough, they're entitled The Sin Nature. Well, I'm going to show you what else they print in the print shop. But first, let's take a look at the clip.
Now I'm going to take you into another part of the shipping department where we print our study guides and a lot of...
Hold on. I need to finish, but hold on. And this is important. You best believe me, this is important. Oh, no. I'm still getting tinnitus even right now as I speak. All right. Mm-hmm. Oh, no. Too late. I've already got it even before you took it down. You see they're taking them down, right? As I'm looking for them. Yeah. I can move way faster than you, buddy. Uh-oh. There's another one. So, if everybody are wondering, these are the things that they're using right now. The ones we see the uplink and the downlink, okay? So even as I make this video, that's what's being used on me as I'm picking up that tinnitus. They got people in the building responsible for this, still on his property.
Out of our books and things like that I think will be an interesting blessing to you, that you see how it's done. And of course, we're going to surprise them. They don't know that I'm coming in. And so it's no telling what they might be doing. Hope we don't catch them doing something they're not supposed to be doing, because that would not be good on live television right now. Let me tell you that right now. But this back here, we're coming back here, walking on. And this is Caleb Berg, and Caleb's been with the ministry many years, and this is where we print all of our study guides. Here are the covers that we've printed. Here's some covers right here. This is the Sin Nature, and they're all put together right here. And this is the cover of one of Dad's books, Religious Rock and Roll, A Wolf in Sheep's Clothing. That's an old one. I haven't seen that one in a while. But all of that is printed right here and assembled right here under this roof.
Okay, now that you've seen the clip of Donnie, I'm going to go ahead and show you what else they've been printing in the print shop besides Bible study guides. What you're seeing here now is a poster that was printed in the ministry print shop. It's a long way away from a Bible study guide. It's actually pretty horrendous. And I'm doing this as a screencast on my computer, so forgive the quality. This is another one guerrilla music. You can see that there's a parental advisory on there for explicit lyrics. I'm just going to go through and show you these. This is the one that I find personally the most alarming. The man is getting ready to do a human sacrifice. His knife has the head of Baphomet on it. The gentleman laying down has a pentagram on his chest, and he's getting ready, the man is getting ready to plunge it into his chest. It's definitely not something a ministry should be printing in their ministry nonprofit print shop. These are the lyrics on the back of that CD cover. Here is another poster that was done there. Big D, Quest for Power. You can see the roll of money there beside him. Includes the hot single, You Nasty. Can't wait to hear that one. Here's another poster that was done for an area nightclub. Liquor, party, action. And again, this is another poster that was done. It was for a fashion hair show, fashion and hair show. You can see that the young lady is barely dressed there. And this is for apparently an area gay club by a band called Strap On Halo. Again, this was printed in the ministry print shop using their equipment and their employees. Here's another CD cover. And this is interesting. This is the email that links those posters to the ministry print shop because so many people have, accused me of lying. You can see that this went to Caleb Berg, and this man is asking for these to be printed. Caleb Berg is the head of the ministry print shop, and
Hold on. Let me zoom that. Let me expand that. And it's kind of blurry. Quality's up.
The ministry did know full well, or Caleb wouldn't still have his job. And this is a invoice, which again links these prints to the print shop. You can see that it was done by Starcom Printing, which is part of Jimmy Swaggart Ministries. And the proof of that is it says right there, make all checks payable to JSM, right on the bottom there. So if you had any doubt at all, and also the address is for the ministry. So they're one and the same. Starcom Printing and the ministry print shop is one and the same. Here's another invoice, again tying this printing to the ministry print shop. Again, it says make all checks payable to JSM. Here's another poster that was done. And another CD cover. Again, parental advisory for explicit lyrics. Another CD cover here. And this is the back of the CD cover, showing the lyrics. And here's another CD cover. Drugs and violence and gangs, and definitely not ministry material. And here's the back of that same CD. You can see some of the lyrics. And this is another poster for an area club. Lovely sign language. And another poster for an area club. And we're back at the beginning now. Okay, I would encourage you to go to my website at www.deceptionbites.com. There's further information about this printing and about this ministry. I would encourage you also to do your own research. Research in depth about this ministry and do not blindly believe what you are being told. This ministry may sound good and it may sound right, but they are deceiving you.
That's right. There ain't no copyright, but this is under fair use because this does count as a reaction video.
Isn't it amazing? The SWAGGART ministry swindles thousands of people out of their hard-earned money every month, accumulating millions and millions of dollars, and yet they're not held accountable for what they do with this money. We would be ultimately shocked if they opened their books and we found out that all the ministers there are given tremendously high salaries to cover up this scam. It's a spiritual scheme that's gone on for decades. And it wasn't bad enough that Jimmy Swaggart fell, having been with prostitutes and lying about it in around 1988. Now they come back again and they still lie forevermore. How do you actually know that they need $4.7 million every month in order to keep their SBN ministry on the air? I know some ministries that give away Bibles for free, and it's up to the individual if they even want to tithe or not. The Swaggarts say that these Bibles go to preachers, and yet when you look at all the Bibles being given away, it sure looks like there's more than preachers in these countries getting the free Bibles. Jesus warned us that we would know these people by their fruits or the works they do. It's clearly evident the Swaggart ministry, they flashed Satan's devil sign paying homage to him. They drive big fancy cars, and we can rest assured that Francis and Donnie spends hundreds of thousands of dollars a year on their wardrobes and all the jewelry. Donnie has several watches, several suits, several glasses, and Frances surely has what might be over $50,000 of jewelry on her when she does her program. The Bible clearly warns real Christians not to be like the heathens. We're not to wear excessive jewelry. We're not to get tattoos, buy cars that are worth several thousands of dollars, like the Mercedes the Swaggarts drive, or live in gigantic mansions in which they do as well. Ask yourself this: how much money every month does the Swaggart ministry go to feed, clothe, and shelter the many children throughout the world that are starving to death and have nowhere to lay their head at night? If you're one of the thousands of people being suckered by the Jimmy Swaggart ministry or any other ministry, you need to immediately contact them and hold them accountable for every penny that they take from you. You need to know what they do with that money, and if they won't be held accountable for the money and tell that to you, then you need to stop giving to them immediately. The Swaggart ministry needs to immediately repent, as well as any other mega ministry that is hustling Christians. We find these on Daystar, TBN, and INSP especially. be on your guard for these spiritual hustlers. All they want to do is use you and confuse you. A few days ago, Francis Swaggart said it was okay to take the microchip. There was nothing wrong with it. Evidently, Francis forgot to research the subject because Dr. Catherine Albrecht has found that the chip causes cancer in pets, and she has a lawsuit right now with Merck Pharmaceutical.
I hope you all Philly TIs hear that. He mentioned microchip. Microchip. He mentioned towers. He owns the property as to the one I live in, the apartment complex. He owns the Mall of Louisiana. And he owns, obviously the Jimmy Swaggart Bible College too, right? He owns that too. All these 4 buildings, or 1, 2, and 3, those 3 buildings alone have this illegal equipment latched onto my network, violating my human rights. No, I think that was my constitutional rights. I need to basically really look into this more, but I want people to know that this is basically who's responsible for the funding of my targeting. Jimmy Swaggart Ministries.
Swaggarts, like many other mega preachers, they talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. Please go to my YouTube channel and watch my microchip videos if you don't believe it doesn't give you cancer. Wake up.
2 Peter chapter 2. But there were also false prophets among the people, just as there will be false teachers among you. They will secretly bring in destructive heresies, even denying the master who bought them, and will bring swift destruction on themselves. Many will follow their unrestrained ways, and because of them the way of truth will be blasphemed. In their greed they will exploit you with deceptive words. Their condemnation pronounced long ago is not idle, and their destruction does not sleep. For if God didn't spare the angels who sinned, but threw them down into Tartarus and delivered them to be kept in chains of darkness until judgment, and if he didn't spare the ancient world, but protected Noah, a preacher of righteousness, and 7 others, when he brought a flood on the world of the ungodly, and if he reduced the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah to ashes and condemned them to ruin, making them an example to those who were going to be ungodly, and if he rescued righteous Lot, distressed by the unrestrained behavior of the immoral, for as he lived among them, that righteous man tormented himself day by day with the lawless deeds he saw and heard, then the Lord knows how to rescue the godly from trials and to keep the unrighteous under punishment until the day of judgment, especially those who follow the polluting desires of the flesh and despise authority. Bold, arrogant people, they do not tremble when they blaspheme the glorious ones. However, angels who are greater in might and power do not bring a slanderous charge against them before the Lord. But these people, like irrational animals, creatures of instinct, born to be caught and destroyed, speak blasphemies about things they don't understand, and in their destruction they too will be destroyed, suffering harm as the payment for unrighteousness. They consider it a pleasure to carouse in the daytime. They are blots and blemishes, delighting in their deceptions as they feast with you, having eyes full of adultery and always looking for sin, seducing unstable people and with hearts trained in greed, accursed children. By abandoning the straight path, they have gone astray and have followed the path of Balaam, the son of Bosor, who loved the wages of unrighteousness, but received a rebuke for his transgression. A speechless donkey spoke with a human voice and restrained the prophet's madness. These people are springs without water, mists driven by a whirlwind. The gloom of darkness has been reserved for them. For uttering bombastic, empty words, they seduce by fleshly desires and debauchery people who have barely escaped from those who live in error. They promise them freedom, but they themselves are slaves of corruption, since people are enslaved to whatever defeats them. For if, having escaped the world's impurity through the knowledge of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, they are again entangled in these things and defeated, the last state is worse for them than the first. For it would have been better for them not to have known the way of righteousness than, after knowing it, to turn back from the holy commandment delivered to them. It has happened to them according to the true proverb. A dog returns to its own vomit, and a sow, after washing itself, wallows in the mud.
And there you have it. All the proof you need. I could immediately show you just like honestly how many times this shit has happened. No joke. Like, I'm not kidding. Go to the history. It's the 7th of the, you see the first day, 7th month 2020. All going down. All of that, all happening on the 7th of the 1st. All on the 7th of the 1st. All of it. Yesterday, the 6th of the 30th day, 2020. All of these hacking attempts, all in the same, close to the same area, and some of them spreading out, no less. Look at all that. Now, to prove this is happening in the area, that is, oh, that's close to Perkins. Nah, I guess it would be towards the bottom. Cinemac, no, that ain't it. Nope. It's gonna be some here. Okay, let me go back for when it swaps. Oh, right there. There you go. So this is evidence that this has happened even yesterday. And as you see, if you're wondering, those are the people who are my gang stalkers who are on this floor. 4 devices, 4 phones, latched onto my network. And you see their location. And I zoom out. There you go. Jimmy Swaggart's property once more. Let's look at the next day after that. Oh, and I do have proof that I was being hacked ever since last year. Yeah, no joke. Wow, all of this happened on the 30th. That is so much damn hacking, dude. Like, what the fuck? Damn. Look at all of that. I'm not even up to the freaking 29th yet. Look at all of that hacking. Look at all of that. Now we finally, now this goes back 3 days ago. Now that's the 29th. That doesn't make sense. Nope. And that's why the dates don't lie. So as you see, the 3rd of the 6th month and the 30th, that's the 6th month, the 29th. This wasn't 3 days ago. Remember when I said in my previous videos, this was still basically, collecting data of basically catching them, collecting my data and selling it off. Yeah, I'm not joking. So that's the 28th of the 6th month. Let's go scroll down. That's 27th of the 6th month. Even farther. I can keep showing you more. And around that time, this is when I first was able to find Miss SH Space Peace channel. That's around the time when I found it. All of this I found within these single days, and I couldn't. At first, I didn't know who was hacking me. I didn't know who was doing it, and I didn't know who was responsible, and I didn't know who was funding it. Now I know. Now I know. And check this out. They're still doing it even as I speak. Go to the scanner. Hang on, is anything off? Nope. Oh. Nope. Oh, did they stop? No, don't look like it. Mm-hmm. Oh, yep. Still on the property again. I think this speaks for itself. I believe it speaks for itself. Today is 5:51 p.m. Wednesday, July 1st. So I'm real curious to hear what other fellow TIs thinks about this. I'm real curious. Please take the time to leave your comments in the comment section. It'd be greatly appreciated.